Brought to you by GatewayCitySavers.com.
Softli's Scouting Report, hosted by Cliff Saunders, exclusively on 101ESPN.com.
Hello and welcome on in to Softli's Scouting Report here on 101ESPN.com. My name is Cliff Saunders. Tony Softli, former Rams Vice President of Player Personnel, is here, and every week we are going to break down the Rams matchup. So Tony, how are you doing first of all?
Oh, doing great, Cliff.
You ready to break this puppy down?
Let's do it.
Let's start with the Raiders. Kickoff with the Rams at 3:05 on Sunday. Raiders get drilled by Tennessee 38-13 in week one. What happened?
Well, they look totally discombobulated, to say the least. Opening snaps, fumbles, inaccuracy on the passing part of it, and they never really got on track. They started to get that in the third and the fourth quarter, and you could kind of see what they could possibly be. But the first two quarters were bad, really bad.
Steven Jackson did not get off necessarily against Arizona last week. The Raiders' run defense, well, put it this way, they gave up 200-plus yards to Tennessee. Chris Johnson had a big day. Javon Ringer even got into the end zone. How can the Rams get SJ39 rolling on Sunday?
Give him the ball. Give him the ball any way you possibly can. I think what they'll do is they're going to run him on some stretch plays, some power plays, something downhill. If he gets to the second level in this defense, then he's going to do some damage like Chris did. And I think the other thing is you got to get him involved in the passing game. Throw him some swings, throw him some passes in the flat, something to, a little change up. And he's the key. You got to get him the ball and get him rolling. Speaking
of the passing game, Vince Young last week, 13 of 17 for 156, a big touchdown to Nate Washington. How can the Rams take advantage of that and get Sam Bradford not only completing a high number of passes, but average per completion has got to be higher than 8 yards, obviously, and a little more effectiveness than we saw in the second half last
well, he's going to have to complete some passes early just to get that defense out of the box. They're going to come and give him some pressure on first and second downs. I saw it in the game against Tennessee. They flashed it a little bit and expect more of that this time. But he's going to have to complete some passes to Robinson or whoever it may be to loosen up that defense, hand off to Steven Jackson, then come back with a little play action to fool him and hit some things deep. That's what they're going to have to try to do.
Let's backtrack a little bit to the Arizona game and talk about Sam for just a second. What was the one thing that he proved to you in watching him?
Well, you know what? First off, the toughness. I mean, he got hit in the mouth way too much. 55 passes. He's not going to survive 10 games by throwing it 55 times. But I'll tell you what he did. He had poise. He was composed. He never was rattled. I think, he showed that he could take the keys and drive that car in the fast lane, and he really did it.
And very quickly, Tony, what about some of the Raiders' offensive players that the Rams defense has to be accountable for?
Well, I think, first of all, you got to look at Jason Campbell, the quarterback. He's very athletic. He stands tall in the pocket. He's got a little bit of an elongated throwing motion, but this guy's kind of dangerous. He'll take off and run it, too. He's not a Michael Vick, but he can escape and get downfield and, get that first down that they're not expecting. So he is a guy that they have to keep an eye on. The other guy is Darren McFadden, the running back. He showed last week that not only could he run it, he could also catch it. He scored a touchdown as a receiver. So, he looked like the old Darren McFadden from Arkansas. He could really run the ball.
And as we wrap up for the Week 2 version of Softli's Scouting Report, give us the one matchup that you're going to be watching closely.
Well, there's a couple matchups, actually. And I think on defense, what you have to look for on their when we're on offense, I should say, when the Rams are on offense, you have to look at Seymour against Bell in the middle. I think Richard Seymour brings a lot of power, a lot of inside athleticism. He's got very good length. He's a disruptive player along with Tommy Kelly, who will be going against Goldberg on the other guard. So the inside play this week, like it was last week where you saw Campbell get loose a few times, better watch out on this. The other guy you got to watch out for is Wembley. He's listed as an outside linebacker, but really he's a DPR, a designated pass rusher. He comes off the edge. He's got natural pass rush ability. He can bend. He can burst to that quarterback. He's very dangerous. Look for him as a key matchup for our two outside tackles.
So there you have it, the Rams at Oakland on Sunday. The kickoff coming up at 3:05. We'll have the pregame on 101 ESPN with Randy Carricker and Rick Venturi at noon. Tony Softli, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
This has been Softli's Scouting Report. For Tony Softli, I'm Cliff Saunders on 101ESPN.com.